Hello. In this lesson, we'll turn our attention to frequency words, or frequency adverbs, the technical term. We use adverbs to modify or change verbs and sentences. Frequency adverbs, or words, explain how often. They usually come before the verb. I often speak slowly in class. The students usually study hard. Never means it never happens. I never speak in class. Rarely, maybe 10%. Seldom, 20%. Sometimes means about half and half. I sometimes speak in class. And often, 70%, usually around 85%, and always. I always speak in class. Note, frequency adverbs sometimes come at the beginning, but also at the end of a sentence. Sometimes I speak in class. Okay, now look at these examples. The students never sleep in class. They rarely speak Spanish in class. They seldom speak Czech in class. All three of those are negative, or almost negative. Never, yes, negative. Rarely, almost. Seldom, almost. And look at these affirmatives, right? The professor sometimes brings pictures to class. Helen and Willie often study together. The students usually review their homework. They always study the lessons carefully. Okay, now let's try a practice. This practice is difficult, but it's fun, and it's very useful. I'll say 3 words. I'll say a noun or a pronoun, David, a frequency word, never, and a verb, speak. And you will create the sentence. You'll have to construct it. You'll have to complete it. So David never speaks French in class, or David never speaks Czech. Got it? Not so hard. Let's try it. David never speak. Good. David never speaks Arabic at home, or David never speaks Czech. Another one. They rarely sleep. Okay, they rarely sleep is fine, or they rarely sleep during the day. That's good. More. He seldom bring. He seldom brings his book to class, or his notebook to class. Good. We usually study. Okay. We usually study in the library or at home, whatever. I sometimes review. I sometimes review my homework. Good. The students never practice. The students never practice their lessons. You always study. Okay, you always study the homework, or maybe you wrote, I always study the homework. Good. The instructor often draw. The instructor often draws on the whiteboard. David usually sleep. David usually sleeps on the train, or David usually sleeps in class. Oh dear. All right, in this exercise, you'll see a complete statement with a frequency word. Now the object is to write 3 sentences for each sentence you see in the exercise, but you will use pronouns. So look at this example. David always studies in the morning. And then you write, for example, he never reads in the morning, he sometimes reviews his homework at 8 o'clock, or he rarely reads at night. 3 possibilities and a lot of opportunity to create different sentences. Got it? Fun. Okay, put your program on pause, look at the study guide, and continue the exercise. Return here afterwards. Let's review the exercise. You saw David always studies in the morning, and you wrote 3 additional sentences. He never reads in the morning, for example. He sometimes reviews his homework at 8, or he rarely reads at night. There are many possibilities, right? Okay, and then number 2, Professor Hill usually speaks slowly in class, and you maybe wrote, he often speaks in class, he usually speaks in the morning, he often speaks before the class. And number 3, students never sleep in the classroom. Maybe you wrote, they always sleep on the train. They seldom sleep before class, and they always sleep late on Sunday mornings. Number 4, Helen always writes her homework at night. You wrote, she rarely writes her homework in the morning. She seldom writes her homework before class, and she never writes her homework on the weekends. Number 5, you saw, I always do my homework, and then you wrote, I sometimes do my homework before class. I often do my homework on the train. I never do my homework on the weekend. Very good.